Today's story is about one of my dear close friends from high school that passed away during the 90s. In high school, we had band class together, but I never noticed him. Our band director was a husky white man, very friendly. He knew how to treat children, although a lot of times he got on his son a lot in class. Um, he would stop us from playing and tell us stories about Appalachia because that was where he was from, and we would listen because he told some good stories. Now, every time he would get into telling stories, he would call out this one name time after time. I'm just gonna say his name is Scott. He would look up and say, Scott, and get his attention and tell him to stop talking. Now he would overtop the band. He would overtalk the band director. He did it so many times. This guy was a freshman. So one day I decided I'm gonna look back here and see who this guy is. I turned my head and looked up, and I saw a tall, attractive black man, male actually. He was a teenager, he wasn't a man yet. And I said, all that mouth coming from him. Weird. So not thinking much about it. I turned around and continued to listen to the band director. No matter what he was talking about, whether it was something we needed to do in the room or our notes or music or whatever, every now and again Scott would mess up again. I guess he had some stories to tell. So one day I approached him and we became fast friends. And the strange thing about it was, after we became friends, we used to hang out after school and during school. He was a pretty cool guy. He was not mean. He used to do a lot of dancing in the hallways, and he wore, uh, I don't know, parachute pants, Adidas, loosely, not tight on his feet, but loose. We, something happened between us. He moved on, and I moved on. I used to see him out after I graduated, after he graduated. I met up with him at a grocery store once, and he was supposed to have been working. We lost track of time and just kept talking, just kept talking. One day I went there, and I never would say goodbye when we parted ways. I would always get him in trouble because the manager would come up to him and tell him, "You supposed to be working, get back to work." And I would totally forget that he was supposed to be working, Misha. And he did too. What you want? What you want? Come on. Come on. Totally forget that he was supposed to be working. We really enjoyed each other's company. So, now this happened a couple of times. He was telling me about his first car. He was saving up to get his first car. He wanted to be I'm not sure what color, but a sports car, something like a Camaro or a Firebird. His grandma was, he spent a lot of time with his grandma. I don't know the situation with his family. I didn't at that time. But his grandma used to pick him up and drop him off at work. Hey, what you want? So this particular day, uh, we was parting ways outside. He was waiting on his ride, and he said, "Sandra, bye." I always say, "See you later, see you later." And I said, "See you later, Scott." And he was like, "Bye, Sandra." And I said, "See you later." And it had got to a serious point where I was almost mad because he kept telling me to tell him goodbye or bye. And I was like, "No, I'm not going to say it. See you later, Scott." And he said, "Sandra, bye." So he wouldn't let me walk away until I said it. And I did. I said, "All right." Not thinking about the future. I said, "All right, bye, Scott." I said, he nodded his head in agreement. And I went out to my car and I left. Little did I know that that was the last time I would see him, alive or deceased, because a week after he had a motorcycle accident and he passed away. He pushed me to say goodbye to him.